We bought this ranch from Rita's family in 1993. Fairly run down at the time. I think every third post had to be replaced. Had very little water. We realized that was not going to work for us. With such little water, we couldn't really utilize the grass the way we wanted to. So we approached NRCS, and with their assistance, we were able to put in a pipeline and 6 stock tanks, I think, and that really got us started. So we bought the property that we're looking at today in 2012, and the previous owner had the same problem we had. They didn't have enough water, so we put in a solar system, and that worked great, and it's still working great, except that solar system did not produce enough water from this marginal well, the only source of water we actually had. We approached NRCS again, and we enrolled in the CSP program. And with their assistance, they helped develop a management plan and provide some science to the grazing schedules.
This was a really unique project because there was money available at ABC, and it allowed Steve to implement the infrastructure that he needed to be able to rotate the cattle the way he needed to for the NRCS project. So it was really a 3-way partnership between the Muellers and ABC and NRCS, the right funding, the right time, the right project, and everything has worked out really well. The ABC grant provided some funding for livestock water developments. Without the livestock water developments, the number of livestock that could graze this pasture would be fewer than what they are now, and they would be grazing for a longer period than what he's grazing right now. With added water, Steve was able to increase the number of livestock grazing in this pasture, but for a shorter period, which then leaves the plants to rest for a longer period.
So by providing the grasses with longer recovery times between grazing events, they have more time to get bigger, seed out, make more litter. So we often see results that include more ground cover, which results in better infiltration, less sun hitting the soil, which dries it out. Ground cover is really the essential thing for rangeland health. So anything that increases ground cover is generally a good thing. The grasses generally get more productive, and we see a more diverse array of grasses if they're being used at different times between different years, and then have adequate in-season recovery.
Having the pipelines to spread the cattle out, you can get more cattle on, you make better use of the land, you don't stress the water areas near as much. It just has made a world of difference. Having a healthy land will keep the birds here. If it's overgrazed or if it's too dry, they're not going to stay around. So the water is everything, and placement of the water is everything in keeping not just the cattle, all the wildlife, everything happy.
One of the big things that birds need in this area is kind of a diversity of grass heights. So a lot of times when there's not an effective cattle grazing strategy, you'll either have grass that's grazed way too short or grass that hasn't been grazed in a long time. And while those can be beneficial for one species of bird, when you've got an effective rotational grazing system like is going on here, you've got that diversity of habitat. You have different grasses that different species of birds are using for, say, nesting or for brood rearing or for feeding. So that's really great for the birds, and then again, it's helpful for the cattle as they're able to have fresh pasture to rotate into all year long. Mueller Land and Livestock is really kind of a unique operation out here. In eastern Montana, you really don't have a lot of places that have trees and forests like this. So having grasslands that are bordering up against pine forests like this is really amazing. You get species that you normally wouldn't see. So just having different grasses mixed with the forest is habitat for a lot of different species of birds.
Projects like this matter because in eastern Montana, livestock water really is our limiting factor for good grazing management. Most operations are largely dictated by how much water they have and where. It limits when the cows can graze, how long the cows can graze, and how many can be grazed there. So by adding reliable stock water across the pastures and providing sufficient flows for larger herds, it really opens up the management flexibility of the operation so that rotations can take place and grazing durations can be shortened, and the landowner can really match the livestock to the forage base instead of matching it to the limited water supply.
When I made a field visit here this summer, I noticed a lot more grass that had seeded out, fewer weedy species, fewer annuals. There's a lot of birds present today. Going through the creek bottoms, I noticed a lot more tree recruitment. There's more seedlings and there's less browse on the trees, and that's because the livestock aren't in the fields as long as they used to be. That way they're not grazing on those species as much. I'm seeing benefits to the operation in the rangeland and the wildlife.
So we're heading in the right direction as far as range health goes. And I might add too that we've taken the same basic plan that NRCS helped us put together. We've implemented that with the Forest Service also. So we've made changes in the timing, when we graze on our forest allotment, forest permit, and we've changed the numbers around too on that. So we've actually increased the number of head that we run on the forest and for a lesser period of time.
I hadn't met Steve before working on this project, so that's another benefit, that I built some relationships and resulted in a project that I'm really proud to have been a part of.